We believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment.
The search for Nancy Guthrie now entering its second week. A local former FBI agent weighs in on what's next.
A community mourns the loss of an 8-year-old boy, the mother facing charges.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at 9.
And we thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Scott Schneider.
I'm Dawn Hasbrook. Investigators say the boy showed signs of malnourishment.
The mother's boyfriend also facing charges tonight. Our Leslie Moreno has more on what's next in the investigation.
Neighbors tell us they are shocked to learn that this was all happening just next door and that they could have done something to save the young boy. Tonight, a growing memorial for 8-year-old Markel Pierce. The Lake County coroner has identified the young boy as a child who died in what prosecutors are calling a case of prolonged abuse.
I was really shocked. Yeah, I didn't expect it at all.
I was heartbroken when I heard about it. It was really sad. You know, I only got to see the daughter and the mother every once in a while, but I never saw the boy.
Police say the boy was found inside a home in the 1900 block of Cedar Lake Road on Friday afternoon. Preliminary autopsy results and evidence inside the home point to malnourishment and long-term physical and mental abuse. The boy's 10-year-old sibling was also found inside the home and taken to the hospital after showing signs of malnourishment as well.
It's really sad to hear, knowing they're just like 8 and 10 years old. You never know what's going on around you, so this was really shocking.
Police say the child's mother, 33-year-old Dominique Servant, and her boyfriend, 38-year-old Joey Ruffin, both appeared in court on Monday. They are being charged with first-degree murder and child endangerment. Prosecutors argue that the abuse was not impulsive and happened over an extended period of time with knowledge and planning.
It's an uneasy feeling, and then having to see, you know, the balloons and everything. I have a daughter of my own, so that breaks my heart, you know. I'm a mom, and the mom is supposed to love and protect your child.
In a statement to Fox Chicago, DCFS says, quote, "The death of a child is profoundly heartbreaking, especially when the alleged perpetrators are the ones that are supposed to protect and care for the child. This family was not receiving services from DCFS, and the department is actively working with Round Lake law enforcement to investigate the circumstances around this child's death."
Everyone's really sad. It's really sad thing that happened. You know, everybody tries to come over here and drop off stuff and in memory of him. And I mean, I hope that he's in a better place now.
We are still waiting on final autopsy results, which will give us more insight into the young boy's last days. The boy's mother and her boyfriend remain behind bars. In Lake County, Leslie Moreno, Fox Chicago.
So this home in Grange was sold during a foreclosure auction back in June. However, several neighbors and a representative for the new homeowner say squatters are there. In fact, they've been there for months. Fox Chicago found out before that happened there were allegations of prostitution and illegal drug use and disorderly conduct at all hours of the night.
Brett Bagansky shows you why some residents are hoping a judge will end their nightmare tomorrow.
There's probably anywhere from 4 to 6 people still living in the house.
This is Ring doorbell camera from a neighbor's home Friday, showing someone crawling into a home through a side window.
There are real concerns. I mean, we see a lot of action with people coming up our driveway and then knocking on the windows trying to get people to either come out or let them in.
James Diener lives next to this home on South Catherine and LaGrange.
If they've received mail there, they're considered a resident, but those people have nothing to do with the house.
Diener, along with other neighbors and a representative for the new homeowner, tell Fox Chicago that squatters have taken over the home.
We started seeing a lot of people come in and out of the house.
Fox Chicago obtained LaGrange police records that reveal an undercover investigation that took months, resulting in a drug raid October 27th, where officers allegedly found drugs and drug paraphernalia, including substances that tested positive for fentanyl. Officers did several interviews where, depending on who it was, some paid rent, others did not, but did some odd jobs around the house. Many admitted to police they used drugs in the house. One woman said the homeowner ordered prostitutes and was allegedly advised she is at times a prostitute. The same person also said she was worried Italians would be coming to the house since the owner allegedly owed people money. Another man added, people have come looking for him, even beat him up once for not paying.
There are a lot of kids. There's people who have pets that are walking their pets. There are a lot of people with dogs. with kids on this block. We're a block and a half away from a school. This shouldn't be happening in a LaGrange neighborhood.
I went to speak to the people who are living inside, but nobody answered. Neighbors like Dieter just want them gone.
This whole thing just keeps on another 10 days, another 30 days, and we've been doing this another 30 days for a year and a half. We'll be really happy when it's done.
Brett Bagansky, Fox Chicago.
We believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
The family of Nancy Guthrie making a new plea to bring her home. You just heard part of the latest message from Savannah Guthrie and her family. The search for her missing mother now stretching into a second week with the most recent deadline from those possible ransom notes passed.
Caroline Elliott reports on the clues that authorities are now looking at.
Savannah Guthrie begging for answers in a new Instagram video 2 hours before the ransom deadline.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
The Today Show co-anchor asking the public for help after her 84-year-old mother disappeared more than 1 week ago.
We are at an hour of desperation.
The latest from investigators, or at least what they're saying publicly, is they still do not have a suspect or a person of interest in this case. Over the weekend, detectives continued searching Nancy Guthrie's home, focusing on the septic tank in her backyard.
You don't want to find out a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now when you actually catch the suspect that her body was in there. And so you've got to check that. Maybe a cell phone was flushed down the toilet. Maybe some other device that might give them some information is in there. They've got to check it.
An alleged ransom note set a Monday evening deadline for the family to hand over $6 million in Bitcoin. The Guthries have released several videos on social media pleading for their mother's return.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
TMZ reports the Bitcoin wallet was still empty as of Monday morning, and experts fear that even if the ransom were paid, it may be untraceable.
Well, joining us now to break down the investigation and where it stands tonight is former FBI agent Ross Rice.
Ross, thank you for joining us tonight.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
So a lot of people are asking this because you just heard about the Bitcoin wallet. Is there a possibility that the kidnappers don't even exist?
Yeah, absolutely. There has been nothing from the alleged kidnappers to show what we would call proof of life, right, that they actually have Nancy Guthrie in their custody and possession, which is unusual in kidnapping cases. In fact, everything about this investigation so far has been very unusual. Mm-hmm. So it is a possibility that some people saw the publicity surrounding this case, and they decided they were going to try and profit personally from the Guthrie family's hardship.
Yeah.
You know, I'm watching over the weekend, and I'm watching law enforcement back at the site of her home, and I'm just reminded of something that my father-in-law, captain of homicide, would tell me. He would say, it looks like a contaminated site to me when we would be watching these high-profile cases. Are you concerned at all, from where your vantage point is, that we've seen police come in and out of that home so often now that perhaps something may be falling through the cracks?
Well, you're right about the house, which apparently is a crime scene, being contaminated. It should have been locked down, and it should have been under police guard from the minute that Mrs. Guthrie was reported missing. After a couple days, I believe the sheriff, who was in charge of the investigation at the time, turned it back over to the family. It was open to practically anyone, and now it's been closed off again, and there's been additional searches. So I think that is in hindsight, a mistake that was made. How that's going to affect the investigation, we'll really have to see how it plays out, Scott.
And I think people were also alarmed about the fact that the car was towed days later, her car from the garage. What would you say is the biggest concern from your perspective for law enforcement now? Do you think they'll find her? Do you just from what you can tell, does it seem that they're making any progress?
I'm sure they're making progress, but as I'm sure you can appreciate, they're not going to share their investigation with the public. As much interest as there is in this case and in the well-being of Mrs. Guthrie, They just can't provide every lead and every interview that they've conducted to the public, because if she has been kidnapped, the kidnappers watch the news, and they don't want to tip their hand. They don't want to prejudice witnesses. They're trying to maintain a legitimate investigation. Their primary focus right now is finding Mrs. Guthrie and returning her safely to her family. Secondary is identifying who, if anyone, is responsible for her disappearance, who might be holding her captive, holding her for ransom, and holding them accountable at the end of this investigation.
Ross Rice, formerly with the FBI, always a pleasure to have you on and getting your insights. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep it right here.
We've got an update on the Bears stadium plans here in Illinois.
And I'm tracking a pretty big warming trend that is taking place not only this weekend, but next weekend. We actually have a chance of being close to 50. Those details coming up.
I'm Pat Hines.
Let's take a live look outside. It's a beautiful night, and boy, it was a great day. You know, I was interviewing people for a story that I'm working on, and the woman said, it's like 40 outside. I want someone to barbecue today.
Yeah, you know,
I totally felt her.
After what the last couple of weeks have felt like, today was a really gorgeous day.
It's like liberating.
Yeah, we had temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s. That's above average. So typically for this time of the year, your average is, it's right around 34 degrees. So above the freezing mark, but of course still cold. And we've been teasing for quite some time that this week, trending warmer, right?
You told us that.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not changing the forecast. It's still staying the same.
And we're just getting started, right? Because I know, Dawn, you were out on assignment.
Yeah.
She's talking about some really nice stuff for next week.
Yes, so models are actually hinting toward 50s and 60s being possible as early as next week. But something that we really have to think about this time of the year is it's still February. We're coming out of a really deep freeze. So the frost layer in the ground right now runs about 13 inches deep. That's significant. So when you start to have melting taking place, all of the snow that's melting now, and unfortunately, you know, if we do end up getting any rain next week, that could lead to flooding, but also ice jams, something that we have to be concerned about too. So that's very normal in the early spring, right? To get the ice jams, especially think of of Kankakee River, right? Every single year, we're doing stories on Kankakee River in Moments area, Kankakee, because of those ice jams. That's something that we're really going to have to watch for later this week, and then especially next week once those temperatures begin to warm up.
And is that above average, the 50s you're mentioning?
Yeah, very much above average. So again, averages are right around 34, 35 degrees. So we're at least getting warmer. That's the good news. Everyone's excited about that, but it's going to kind of turn into a couple issues, I think, for us next week. So at least we're gradually getting to those 50s. Let's take a look at some of the numbers here. So we have temperatures currently that are sitting in the mid-30s. That too is actually very, very warm for this time of night, because your average low temperature this time of the year is 20. So we're way above that. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast. We're kind of bouncing back and forth between 30s and 40s this week. So again, yeah, like a really nice gradual warming trend. We're going to get some melting, yes, but it's not going to all melt at once, which is key. Now next week, that's when we're going to have, I think, the ice jams is probably becoming a little bit more of an issue, because take a look at this map here from the Climate Prediction Center. This is the temperature outlook from the 15th through the 19th. That is Sunday through Thursday, and this is the time frame that we could be experiencing temperatures in the 50s and 60s. I know your eyes are already jumping to Tuesday. People are thinking about, what can I do on Tuesday? I'm feeling sick already, you know, wanting to take that day off. Of course, we're still a week to a week and a couple days out from some of those really warm days, so there can and there will be some fine-tuning of that forecast. But what I want you to take away from it is a really big warm-up is on tap for next week. Satellite and radar, things are quiet for us now. Futurecast running us throughout tonight. Really no major issues, and fortunately, little to no precipitation is in the forecast this week, which again, when it comes to the melting, when it comes to the flooding concerns, the ice jams, it's a beautiful forecast for us this week, because we're really easing our way into it. Now, sunshine-wise, things are looking pretty good. Tomorrow we're going to be partly sunny. Going into Wednesday, things look great. We're going to see plenty of sunshine before we start to see more clouds rolling in for Thursday. Tonight, very, very mild. 34, tomorrow 42, partly cloudy skies on Wednesday, little to no precipitation really all week. And then late this week and into the weekend for Valentine's Day, of course, it's staying very mild. We're in the 40s this weekend, and by Monday, I'm going with a high of 48. Let's take a check of our weather pick of the day. This one is stunning, still very winter-like for us. A few days ago, we, of course, picked up some of that heavier snow over the weekend. This was taken by David in Libertyville, and you can just see all the little snowflakes.
That's cool.
Down. It was stunning.
That's gorgeous. Thanks, Emily. Lawmakers are close to a deal with the Chicago Bears to keep them in the state. What we're learning about it.
And a whole lot of stadium talk on CST, and a little White Sox as well. The reporter there, Scott Merkin, discussing the latest signing on the South Side. Danny Parkins recapping what we saw yesterday in the Super Bowl and weighing in on just how Caleb Williams might have fared against the Seahawks D. And is Arlington Heights now the front runner to land the Chicago Bears? That's coming up right after we're done here on the news. Keep it here. just when we thought the Chicago Bears were destined to build their new stadium across state lines in Indiana, there are signs tonight they may not be leaving Illinois after all.
Sources say state lawmakers and the team are close on a deal. There are talks about, yes, the Arlington Heights Stadium. There supposedly is an agreement on the infrastructure, on how to pay for that, and the so-called pilot bill.
That's right. Illinois State Rep Cam Buckner had an update for us tonight. He says lawmakers are working hard on the deal.
We're not competing with Indiana. What we are doing is doing all we can to be helpful and open to a iconic Illinois organization like the Chicago Bears organization, as well as maintaining our responsibility to the people of the state to do the right thing fiscally and financially. I understand Indiana has a certain timeline that they're operating on over there. We have the timeline that we're operating on over here, but we are not in competition with them as far as I'm concerned. What we're doing is having the conversations to make sure we can fine tune what needs to happen in order for there to be a deal here in this state that works for everybody.
And what's key about that works for everybody is, there has been some question about property tax legislation tied to this, funding it, what that would entail. We don't yet know. But, this would be a huge facility, as you have read. And so there's also an agreement on the public infrastructure we're hearing, or they're close to a deal on that at least.
Tomorrow, or Wednesday night rather, at 6 o'clock, there's a group called Touchdown Arlington. They're going to be gathering. This is a meeting. And what the goal is to come up with some gentle pressure on the folks down in Springfield to get this thing sewn up, because they do feel like the Bears already own the land. And it's just a question of getting that property tax language ironed out, something that the Bears are comfortable with. And then, to your point, Don, getting that multi-use facility to break ground on it and get going and keep the Bears in Illinois rather than in Gary.
Yes, because Indiana has tried.
There you go.
We'll be right back. Trending right now, a night of love at the local restaurant Gay House Cafe. Tonight, they're hosting couples celebrating 40 or 50 years of marriage, totaling more than 1,100 years.
We've been here, coming here since 1976, and we thought it was the perfect way to celebrate 50 years of marriage.
Couples also brought their own items, such as their wedding license, to make the evening memorable.
Good for them.
It's Valentine's Day this weekend, buddies.
It is.
Get ready.
And it's heating up. Just in the weather department, everybody.
Well done,
I'm just
Emily.
talking
Well
about
done.
temperatures. That was a very Dawn line that I had
totally
there.
was.
All right, let's take a quick check. A quick check of your 7-day forecast. I'll get my life together over here. 42 degrees expected tomorrow, 37 on a Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, we're in the 40s again. And then for your Valentine's Day on Saturday, we're planning on some sunshine at this point with a high of 42.
All right. Thank you, Emily. Chicago Sports Tonight is straight ahead.
Good night.